Good morning, afternoon, evening, whenever it is, wherever you are. Thank you for listening to the Backlog Busting Project. My name is Wes. With me, as always, is Randy.
What episode is this?
This is episode 19.
What day is it?
What time zone are we in?
I don't know anymore. These past 2 weeks have pushed many buttons that we will get to. I am in both a good and horrible mood. And it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
This could be the first podcast that goes 19 hours as I rant and rave about the same game at the same time. Yeah, I've lost it.
Yeah, well, that implies either of us had it to begin with at this point, man.
Yeah, true.
So, before we get into Randy's good/terrible mood, it's play or nay time. You know the drill here. We're going to start right into it with a game that I put on here simply because of the subtitle. It's Dragon Quest Heroes, The World Tree's Woe and the Blight Below, coming out for the PlayStation 4 on October 13th, developed and published, of course, by Square Enix. Or Enix, or however the hell you want to say it. I've always said it Enix, but apparently I'm wrong.
You're wrong.
So this is, from what I've been able to tell, it's kind of like Dragon Quest meets Dynasty Warriors, and that sounds all right to me. So I'm just gonna go ahead and say play and leave it at that.
I have not played a lot of Dragon Quest games. I know this is probably a little different. I do not have time for another RPG in my life. There's too many we keep pushing back in this backlog for time purposes anyways.
Yeah. So
for that purpose alone, I will say nay, but nothing against the game.
Yeah.
I just don't need any more right now.
All right, then. Moving right along, Jackbox Party Pack 2.
Play.
Yeah, pretty much. Releasing for PlayStation 4, PS3, Xbox 360, and PC. Kind of weird it's not coming out for the Xbox One at the same time, but maybe there's something going on there. Releasing also on October 13th, and developed, of course, by Jackbox Games. This is the follow-up to their first party pack, which released a while back. And I'll say this, they are definitely not resting on their laurels with this, because when it was first announced, I think you had the sentiment of, hopefully it's not just, more you don't know Jack, more of the Party Pack 1, and it definitely isn't, because it's Quiplash XL, Fibbage 2, Bomb Corp, which is a game where you work together to defuse a bomb, Bidiots, where you draw something and then have other people bid on it, I can't remember what this earwax, I think it was.
Yeah, was, where you pick a sound
to describe an event, and then the last one. Crap. There's one more, isn't there?
I don't know. I missed the last few announcements, to be honest. It doesn't matter. Most of them are fun.
Yeah.
And the good thing is, like the first Jackbox Party Pack, I want to say only 3 of them we really enjoyed, but those 3 filled up so much time.
Yeah, well,
it worked.
Hell, I don't think we've even played Wordspud, period.
It doesn't look fun.
Yeah, and then...
That's why we're not getting Wordspud XL.
Yeah, and then Lie Swatter was kind of so-so, but you don't know Jack, Fibbage, and...
Quiplash.
No, not Quiplash, that wasn't in the first pack.
No.
Drawful.
Thank you, yeah. You're right.
Quiplash was kind of like a go in between. They did a Kickstarter for it. Anyway, this is more of the kind of stuff that they've been trying to do. They've been honing their experience. So yeah, absolutely play.
Yeah, like I said, play for me. Side note, I was flipping through channels on, I want to say, a Saturday morning, so you get those goofy shows that they know nobody's watching because either you're outside like normal human beings or you're watching college football. I just flipping through channels, and it was like that, like wacky extreme sports highlight reel. Watch him mess up, voiced by Cookie Masterson. I don't think he said he was Cookie Masterson, but I knew who he was.
Yeah, nice. So yeah, both of us are going to be playing that. Hopefully one day, maybe even on stream, which I know I personally have been being terrible about doing a stream schedule. hopefully that's something we get back to in the coming months. But moving on, the next game on the list is Yoshi's Woolly World for the Wii U. Releasing October 16th, of course, developed and published by Nintendo. Who else? This is basically their another Kirby's Epic Yarn, except with Yoshi instead of Kirby.
Yeah, and with great amiibo support, because you can use your amiibos to create other characters that Yoshi turns into and stuff. So it's great to see more support for something that I am trying to avoid because of money reasons. Assholes. Have you not seen the lineup of games that are coming out? Don't be making me buy amiibos, Nintendo. But no, this is going to be a play for me. I did Epic Yarn earlier this year for the podcast and had more fun with it than I thought I was going to. This game looks like it's even more fun, plus I like Yoshi way more than I like Kirby. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and it's a Wii U game. And we always need more good Wii U games. Yeah.
Ditto everything he just said, play. Pretty much. There's really nothing for me to add. Although, one thing I will kind of, I'm going to kind of twist the knife a little bit here on the amiibo. So, the mystery mushroom in Mario Maker?
Yeah.
If you tap the amiibo to the controller, you unlock the costume associated with that amiibo. Have fun with that.
I'm so glad this is an audio podcast so you guys don't see the steam coming out of my ears and the tears coming out of my wallet.
Nailed it! Okay. So, I think that's 3 for 3 so far. Well, for me.
For you.
Yeah, I was about, But, that streak's going to come to an end right now because next up is Guitar Hero Live.
Sorry, Rock Band 4. All the way. I'm a supporter.
It's releasing October 20th for fucking everything because Activision. Almost everything except PC, I think, when I looked it up.
You mean I finally get a new game for my Commodore 64?
Yeah. Okay, everything that's still in production. Developed and published by Activision. Honestly, everything I've seen about this game just smacks of they knew Rock Band 4 was coming and they just wanted to revive Guitar Hero just because. Because, it's just, it's, this rocket reel shit, or that was Rocksmith, but, you play, they react, the FMV videos doesn't look good. They changed the guitar for absolutely no fucking reason. Everything I've heard about live TV, that thing where they can stream the DLC to you, but you have to pay additional, pay $20 to stream it, and you may even lose access to it. It's just the worst kind of DLC practices, which shouldn't be surprising coming from fucking Activision. No. Even though Rock Band 4 has kind of had a bit of a rough launch because people, started to see some of the seams from stuff they cut for no reason, it still leaps and bounds better than anything I've seen out of Guitar Hero. So, nay. Yeah. And just hopefully Activision learns their lesson and it stays dead.
I do kind of have to say that when all of this stuff started getting announced, and we kind of talked about it on this podcast and on my buddy Sean Garmer's podcast. Doing
by the way, Sean,
reviews.
if you're listening, fuck you for what you said on this week's football to football.
It's true though.
Doesn't mean I can't flip them off audioly.
But so we had talked about all the E3 coverage and getting hyped about music genre games again, even though they kind of died. And my worst worry has kind of come true in my sense, where the hype hit too early. So now that the games are out, it's I'm still kind of interested in playing Rock Band 4. Not as interested in putting all the money down for it and that kind of stuff. But it's waned a lot, I think, right as these games come out, where I'm back already to I just don't see me playing it as often to make up for it. So, and it's kind of seemed like it's going that way for a lot of people, and that's why Rock Band 4 is starting to get a little bit of negative reaction, and Guitar Hero is getting a lot of negative reaction, and I can see why, and it's kind of sad. I was hoping for a revival, and it's kind of already losing its ground before it even really gets started.
I will say this, Rock Band 4, since they're going with the whole platform, not game thing, I mean, there's not going to be a Rock Band 5 this time next year.
Yeah.
I want to take a wait-and-see approach to see if they're got their finger on the pulse, because if they add back in some of the stuff that shouldn't have been cut in the first place, like online multiplayer...
Well, that also could have just been a technical issue that instead of coming out completely broken, which with that kind of game, a broken multiplayer would be terrible.
Yeah.
If they just took it out and then are able to use it 6 months down the line to get people to come back, I
don't think they have 6 months, though, is the thing. They need to get online multiplayer back in ASAP, where they're going to have a lot of angry people on their hands. But anyway...
I don't know about a lot of angry people. They'll just stop caring.
Yeah.
And, sorry, but Grand Theft Auto took a year. People were so upset about it for a year. It came on and sucked for a while, because they still had bugs. And people bitched and bitched and bitched. Guess what? People are still playing that game.
Yep. Fair point. So, yeah, that'll do it for this episode's Player Nay. We may do a more Player Nay for this episode, but it won't be coming out immediately. You kind of have to check the lists again and see if there's anything we really want to write about. So stay tuned for that, or not. So now we'll just go into the games for this episode, and now is the part of the show where Randy goes off for a while, because we are going to start off, as we always do, with our co-played game, which was Shadow of the Colossus. Released October 18th, 2005 for the PlayStation 2. The HD remaster came out in the third quarter of 2011, I think it was. 2013, one of the two. Developed by Team Ico, which is now Sony Computer Entertainment Studio Japan, and published by Sony. That being said, I will yield the floor to Mr. Isbelle.
Okay, before I go on my rant, Wes posted a little something last Tuesday. Basically, we did a bunch of practice podcasts before we got this train rolling. Mm-hmm. And one of the practice podcasts, we talked about a little game called Ico. Mm-hmm. Sorry, it's Ico, idiots. Starts with an I. I don't care what anyone says. And I'm going to get to that point in a little bit anyways. But that game pissed me off unlike any other, and its absurdity and ridiculous attempt at telling a story without saying anything, and terrible fighting, and reusing a long-ass puzzle twice to lengthen their game. Listen, please, before we go into this rant, understand where I'm coming from by pausing this one and going back to that one that he posted last week. Listen to that, and then come back. Okay? Are we good? Okay, Wes, where do we want to start?
So, I guess we'll kind of give a little bit of background on this, on this game, storyline-wise. You start off as a young swordsman by the name of Wander.
Which they never say in the game.
Okay, he's carrying a maiden by the name of Mono.
Which they never say in the game.
Into this shrine, and Mono has recently been either sacrificed or passed away. But
you don't know these things because they don't say in the game.
Mm-hmm. And he sets her down in the shrine, and Wander begins to hear this disembodied, omniscient voice by the name of I forgot how to say it. It's Nimrod backwards. Dorman, there we go.
Which they don't say in the game.
Actually, they do right at the end.
I stopped paying attention. I was too busy ranting to you.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
So
I'll take that one back.
Yeah. They may have said it at the start, too, but it's been a while since I've seen the start of the game. Anyway, so Dorman says to Wander, hey, you want to revive this woman? I can do that for you. Just follow my directions.
Yes.
And the directions are to go find and kill 16 Colossi. And he gives you vague-ass hints. I will say that much. His hints are terrible and dumb, and they're thematic, yes. as far as being helpful, fuck. You know?
Well, listen, that part, I'm not even going to rant on. I didn't mind that they were vague on the descriptions of them, because then the reveal was extra or whatever. Plus, you had a sword that basically put you in the right direction anyways, so it's not like he goes, it's at a lake over somewhere, and then you have to go find the lake. You just follow the sword's path or whatever. That's no fun. The thing I have an issue with is the way he fucking talked. Because it's that weird... 3 different people are saying things in different languages, and they mix them all together, so it's just a jumbled mess to begin with. Plus, he starts out every single time saying, your next foe is... dot, 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 and then the next sentence doesn't even continue on with the next foe. It's like, and the next foe is... there's a lake somewhere. What are you talking about?
Yeah. So, I'm going to rewind a little bit here. You mentioned the sword. The sword was actually stolen from wherever Wanderer came from, and it has the ability to point out the Colossi by creating a focused sunbeam in sunlight.
Which they actually talked about in the game. One of the few things. Yeah.
So now that we've set up the story, you mount your trusty steed Aggro and head off for the first. For the first Colossus, and I think we'll get into the breakdowns on the Colossus here in a second. You had the opinion to me of not liking the exploration in this game.
No, I didn't, because there was nothing to it. They make an attempt to make it a vast world. And I will say, for a PS2 game, I did play it on the HD collection one. So obviously the graphics were a little bit better, but I have seen video. I went back and was watching some stuff of the PS2 version. And I will say, for a PS2 game, it's very nice. It's very beautiful. You know, very large open areas and stuff. But there's nothing there at all. If there was wildlife, if there were different side things you could mess around with, maybe. But it's basically, you go further and further and further away to get to the next objective. Why? Stretch the gameplay out, I guess. That's the only reason I can explain having to do any of that. Because there's only a couple times where you do any kind of platforming to get there.
Right.
There's a couple times where you go through bridges, which we will get to the camera and the controls in a minute, make you just want to hate yourself to get across. The horse is... The horse makes you just want to hate life, as he just decides at times that even though you are pushing up on the controller and hitting the X button to make him go faster, he's just gonna completely go to a halt. And you don't know why. And so just getting... Because, listen, the Colossi are awesome. They're really fun. They're sometimes frustrating, but in a good way because of the difficulty. Getting there just drives me nuts. Because it's pointless, time-consuming, and there's nothing there for you.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, please try to defend it, but if there was a point to it, fine, but there's just not. Like the first Colossi, you have to scale the wall. Mm-hmm. There's a point. After that, there's no point.
You know, I can see where you're coming from, but I guess I just didn't, you know... It's hard for me to put into words. Because, yeah, I can see where you're coming from a mechanical standpoint, you know, gameplay-wise, etc., but I just thought it looked too damn beautiful to really care. You know? Like, the environments in this game are amazingly well designed. It's beautiful to look at all the way through, and, you know, I never really had the thought of, you know, why is all this bullshit here, you know, while I'm getting to the next Colossus. Now, maybe that's just more me getting me tolerating Team Ico's brand of storytelling or exposition or world building more than you, but
okay. So I'll ask you this question, and I know it's slightly unfair because if you look at all video games this way, you're always going to find things that suck. Take out all of the Colossus battles. This game is now just an exploration game. Do you enjoy it?
Probably not. I will cop to that. But, again, it's just more of, I think it's just more of, I guess, yeah, it is an unfair question because the Colossus fights are the game. Yeah. But, at the same time, if you remove the exploration from the equation,
then it's just a boss rush.
Yeah.
I understand that. I'm just saying, put other things there. How come, and until the end of this game, there are 16 colossi and a few lizards and butterflies? How can there not be anything else to either attack, get attacked from, hunt? Just add something to the world.
Well,
I understand the point because people say that it's been sealed off or whatever.
Yeah, okay, you just covered what I was about to say.
I
which is from a lore standpoint, this is like supposed to be the Forbidden Land.
Yeah, and I understand lore-wise why it's there, but it's just, especially when you get down to like the last 3 or 4 colossi, and they spread you out so far. Like going to the 15th one, it's like you go to the other side of the world.
Yeah.
And it's just...
I will say this on the last 2 colossi in particular. The light beam is deceptive. If you follow it exactly, which usually steers you right for the other 14 colossi, you're going to have a bad time.
Actually, there's one earlier. I don't know if I just had started in a weird spot. Like, I don't know if I just assumed it was in the spot and went there and then started using my sword. But there was a part where I realized it wanted me to come in from the right, because then there was this big opening. But I ended up coming from the left and up above it, and I'm like, well, I think it's down there, so I just jumped down this hole, which the fall damage in this game is ridiculous, because, of course, you're going to fall from these giant colossi sometimes. So it doesn't want to just instant kill you, so you can fall from ridiculous heights.
Yeah.
So I just jumped down this hole just for the hell of it, and I ended up in the middle of the boss. Like, it went right into the cutscene, and I ended there on accident.
Nice.
But I went, oh, I'm here. Okay, cool.
Well done. So, there are 2 other things, like the technical things we want to get to real quick before we start. We're going to go through each of the boss battles, real quick, on this, because let's be blunt. The boss battles in this game are absolutely fucking outstanding.
Yes.
The Colossi battles are absolutely fucking outstanding. So, speaking of fucking outstanding, the music in this game.
Oh, the music's good. The music is so good.
If I thought I could get away with it, I would just have it playing underneath this entire conversation. But it would probably get distracting after a while.
Well, it would get distracting, plus I would make it be terrible, and later rants that we're going to get to. But no, listen, the music is awesome. I understand why it had to happen, and this is a small nitpick. I really love this game for parts, but there's parts that really just drive me completely insane. This is neither of those. This is a small nitpick, so don't get me wrong here. But they have the different kinds of music in the boss battles, and so, it's normal, trying to figure out stuff, music, and then there's like this more intense thing when you're actually onto the colossi and getting ready to attack them and stuff. And
I think I know where you're going with this.
Where it just changes back.
Yep.
And it's like, that transition is never smooth.
Yep.
There's nothing they can do about it, especially on the PS2.
Yep.
But it was just one of those things, and one of the things I noted in my brain of, oops.
Yeah.
But again, it's small nitpick, nothing I'm holding against the game, because especially when you're on the Colossus, that music, which I believe is the song, or the music that Brental Floss uses in his song for this game, which I need to go back and listen to now that I've actually played it, and I might get the references. But yes, the music in this game, absolutely outstanding. The little bit of sound that is in this is fine. my big issue with Ico is the yelling that he would just do all the time. At least this guy, I'm not going to call him the Wanderer because they never tell me he's the Wanderer.
Well, it's not the Wanderer, it's just Wanderer.
He is the douchebag.
No, that's South Park's Stick of Truth. Wrong episode.
That's true. Sir Douchebag. He at least changes it up.
Yeah.
Especially whether you're trying to get the attention of the Colossus, which was a neat addition to it, or if your horse is far away or close. At least it's not the same over and over and over. So I'll give him that.
Well, and I'm pretty sure they had some variable based on distance in Ico as well. You just because you would get so far ahead of Yorba, you would always be hearing him yelling.
Because Yorba wouldn't do shit. Don't get me started on that game. And you know what? Yorba, same as a fucking horse.
Oh boy,
they have the same brain. Because I don't know how many times I try to get the horse's attention, and he would just kind of, oh, but there's a tree in front of me. I can't come to you. And then I say, screw it, and I start running away, and all of a sudden the horse would run by me. Or I wouldn't want to use the horse for a boss fight, but it's like, well, you could use it if you really want. So the horse is in my fucking camera the whole time I'm underneath this Colossus. The horse is stupid.
I never had problems with him getting in my way during Colossus fights. But, and again, I think because I played the PS2 version and you played the PS3 version, there must have been some weirdness going on because, there were some things that were happening to you in the brief time I watched you play earlier tonight.
We'll get to it.
But, by the way, in a true throwback, once again, Randy beat a Team Ico game right before we went to record this podcast.
I went to finish it last night. And you saw some of my frustrations. But with that, it was times 100, and I was extremely tired.
You almost pulled a revengeance, didn't you?
I set the controller down before I had that moment, but the thought crossed my mind. I'll tell you that.
Did you want to rant some more about aggro, or are you done there?
We'll get to aggro at the end.
Okay.
With the end of the story.
Okay.
But again, listen, we're going to go into the Colossus. I am looking at the Team Ico Wikia page where they have named all of these Colossus, which is wonderful. Why not just put that name underneath the Colossus when you first see him?
Fair point.
I mean, yes, it's a little nitpicky thing, but it will go longer. It will go well into my little rant I'm going to have at the end of this about Team Ico. Just put the name down there. I mean, you come up with a name, obviously. You've thought about a name, even the Latin name. Just put it underneath so we know. So when I am messaging Wes, when we're both playing this game and talking about different bosses, we're not going boss number 6.
Yep. So, we're gonna go right into it now. We've got, boss number 1 is, Valis.
It was a good intro boss.
Yeah. In more ways than one. Because it's your intro to, the sheer scale that the Colossi are going to have. I mean, yes, you're playing a game called Shadow of the Colossus, which implies you're going to be, fighting some big motherfuckers. But Valis is like you climb the wall, you get up to him, and you just look over, and all of a sudden, your entire screen is Colossus.
Well, and he teaches you a lot of things about the game, because the one thing I do like, I'm ranting on how they don't tell you anything story-wise, but what I do like is they don't hold your hand in this game. It's, there's the Colossus, you figure it out.
Yeah.
Now, every so often, the stupid voice god dude will give you a basic hint.
Yeah.
If you have done nothing for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Sometimes that basic hint is exactly what you know you're supposed to do, you just haven't figured out how to yet.
Yeah.
So then he just pisses you off.
Or something you've already done.
Yes.
Which happened to me on one of the later Colossi.
But that's beyond the point. So you see this giant Colossus, he is covered in fur, which you learn that is what you can climb on. Anything that has fur on it is climbable. A few other armor stuff end up having scale-like features, and you can climb on those. But you learn right away that anything with fur you can climb on, anything without, you're going to have a tough time. You do learn that if you shine your sword beam at the perfect spots where their weaknesses are, those will shine and glow for you. So you learn that, and usually it's the top of the head.
Yeah. And then you also learn that sometimes there are smaller runes that do something, don't damage the Colossus necessarily as much, but they cause something to happen to the Colossus that allows you to get up to a damage rune. So yeah, Phallus, all told, is a great introduction to Shadow of the Colossus, and it's a pretty fun fight in and of itself.
Yeah.
So that you kill him, you get warped back, you get your second assignment, which is Quadratus.
Yes.
And man, this guy is a wow. This guy was a wake up call for me.
Yeah, this is the point where you go, okay, now you understand the basics of it. Now you have to do something to be able to get up on him. It's not just run up to the Colossus and climb it. This one you had to wait, and his hoof would come up, and then you shoot the bottom of the hoof, and then he would fall over, and then you could get up and start doing everything else you could.
Yep. And that would be a kind of mechanic they would go back to, is shooting an exposed hoof with the arrow multiple times, as you'll see in a moment. Third boss is Gallus, I think it was.
Gaius.
I misread that I as an L somehow. But it's Gaius, and this is fucking amazing because it's an aerial fight, isn't it?
No, this is the one that first made me realize water can go kiss my butt in this game, because you swim so slow. This is the one where you have to swim.
Oh, it's the dude with the bracelet. Jesus.
Yeah, this is the one where you have to swim across the thing and go up this windy thing. And it also is when I realized that jumping from one platform to the other, the controls are backwards. It's, if you're jumping from left to right, you still hold down. It's not hold right.
I think the term you're looking for is relative, because face back. If you're facing back, you pull back, you go back, is what I'm trying to say. My bad. So, this guy was pretty cool because he is one of the first ones where he is even larger than the other two you've faced so far. He is one tall dude. And then he also has, the first instance of you having to break something before you get up onto him, which is you have to make him power smash the small circular platform first, and that breaks his bracelet and allows you to climb up.
True story. Did that by accident.
Nice.
He was no joke. He swings at me a couple times, and I'm like, I have to climb that sword, and I just couldn't do it a couple times, and then I could not get him to do that motion again. So I'm running around like a moron for 5-6 minutes, just I'm going, that's the motion I need. And I finally get him to do it again, and he just happens to hit the stone, and the thing breaks, and I went, all right. Well, I mean, I didn't know that was a problem yet. Yeah. But, okay, cool.
This is, and I'm kind of kicking myself now, because this is also the boss in the game where I really started appreciating the scale, because this is the first game to give me anything resembling vertigo or motion sickness, because I got all the way up to to Gaius's head, and I ran out of stamina, and he flung me off, and I went all the way down at top speed. And I literally had to close my eyes and turn away from the screen for a second, because my stomach just went into a knot. You know what I mean? So, so you beat him. Next Colossus is Phaedra. I believe I'm saying that right.
Sure.
And I'm trying to remember
horse.
The horse one.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, he's the giraffe where you have to dive into the...
You're saying it wrong. It's a she.
Oh.
Because douchebag Team Ico made it a girl.
Okay, then. So, this is the one where, there's those, like, knolls you can dive into, and it, like, peeks in, and you have to go around.
Now, the moment you said that, I totally forgot about. This was actually the first boss where I went, oh, that's genius.
Yeah.
So, there, like you said, there's 4 little holes, cubbies, where the hobbits live.
Yeah.
Is what I thought when I saw it.
Nice.
So you get this horse to be in that area, and you go in one of the holes, and you come out a different one, and then you wait for her to lean in and look, and when she does that, she kind of bends down, and you grab onto...
Yeah, you run around the opposite way. You run around the opposite way, come around her, and you can grab onto her, like, her tail.
Her tail or belt or whatever it was. But that was the first one I went, that's really clever. And at least it's not the same thing over and over and over.
Yeah. And now I feel really dumb because the boss I thought was the third one, it's flying, is named Avion, which is fucking the flight term. God damn it. Flight's prefix. There we go. And this fight was fucking incredible. Because I for some reason, I just loved the standing on the little platform in the water and timing the jump just right to get onto this gigantic bird of prey and then climbing its wing while it's soaring around in a circle through the sky.
That part was absolutely amazing. You know, trying to hold on while it's flapping and then while it soars sideways and you're hanging on for dear life. That's great. Falling the first time and having to swim for 50 minutes to get back to said platform because the swimming in this game, again, sucks. Not so much fun. Just adding to the frustration that this boss gave me at times. Again, that is a good... Shut up. The Team Ico website is trying to play some kind of a sound, and I don't want it to. But, yes, this is the good frustration of trying to figure out a boss, and sometimes messing up made you have to go reroute yourself, which just took up time and annoyed you. But again, that's a good frustration. The bad frustrations come soon.
Yeah. So, that's 5 down. We go to number 6, which is, Barba. And, this is,
It's a bearded giant.
Oh, yeah, where you have to, like, you basically play, you run in front of him, he smashes through the walls, you get to the opposite side of the arena, and duck into a little cubby hole, and
again, he leans it. Yeah, okay.
He leans down, and then you jump into his beard, which is kind of funny when you think about it, and then from there, you find his weak point, stab him, which, you know, kind of a theme. And then we go to Hydrus, which I believe this is the underwater one.
The electric eel thing that basically it goes around through the water, and you have to catch its tail, which I sucked at.
I didn't have too much problem with this one.
It was more of I was trying to be too far away from the electric parts of this eel that by the time the tail came down there, and of course with fucking swimming, I just could never get in the right spot. Again, it was that was user error, just me being too afraid.
Yeah.
But I like this one because once you get a hold of it, you're running across this eel while it's above water and holding on for dear life when it goes under, and then doing what you were saying where it was the action stabs that didn't do much damage, but it disabled one of the electric prongs, I guess.
And then you finally get up to the head and can get its main signal down.
Yes.
And then we go to, and then the next up would be, Kuromori, which is that goddamn iguana. Ugh. God damn it, I hate that. This is probably my least favorite Colossus. Simply because I, for the life of me, could not, do what it wanted you to do to get its weak point exposed. So, you basically, this is an iguana type Colossus, which has, has the sticky feet. And, it can climb up the sides of this bowl you're in, and your objective is to run around to the opposite side and shoot arrows at 2 of its feet to knock it off the wall and send it tumbling down to the ground on its back, at which point you can go over and stab its weak points. And for some reason, I just could not, for the life of me, hit two of them at the same time.
You could stab its feet.
Not stab its feet.
Bow and arrow his feet.
Yeah, to get him down off the wall. Oh yeah. How in the fuck did you beat that boss?
You can hit it in the tummy too.
Well then,
that's what I did. I basically whistled at it. It would climb up because it's like a Colosseum,
right? Yeah,
area, and it would climb up, and I would hide behind a pillar, so it wouldn't see me, so it wouldn't shoot stuff at me, which hurts, even though it doesn't hit you directly, but it keeps these spores or whatever going along. So I'd hide behind there so it wouldn't shoot, and it would start to look around somewhere else, and it would lean just right, and I'd shoot it in the tummy 3 times, and down it would go, and then I would try to jump from where I was onto it, and yeah.
Huh.
So I didn't know you could take out the feet.
Yeah, if you get around
I don't know which one was easier. Yours is less dangerous, but I think mine was easier because you wouldn't have to.
Because the iguana's main attack is to shoot electric death at you, which sustains for 10 seconds, and if you're in it, you take, massive fucking damage. So, I would probably say mine's more cautious, but it might take a while if you're bad with the bow.
Yes.
So that's 8, we're now halfway through. At this point, you do get a small cutscene, kind of giving a little bit of kind of vague story implications.
Nothing.
But
nothing happened in that storyline.
Anyway, the 9th Colossus is Bassaran, which is the tortoise. So that would be the one where you are in this giant lake and you have to swim.
No. This is the one in the desert where you had to pull it out of the hole.
Oh,
and then it had the stupid geysers.
The geyser. Fuck. I just saw turtle and thought water for some reason.
No, understandable, but this is the one. This one drove me nuts.
It drove me a little bit nuts too.
Just because trying to get it to do what you wanted while it's shooting electric shit at you, so you're riding around the horse, which, again, that horse and me did not get along the entire game. So trying to ride around and get him to get hit by a geyser and then get there in time to be able to climb it and then find the weak points. And this boss probably took me the longest other than the one where I didn't realize he had to hit the stone. But that was just my stupidity.
Which is the one I was thinking of, I think. But anyway, I had the same kind of issue as you did. I played it a little bit more dangerously on this boss. I would stay closer to it, so I was in position when it got fucked up by the geyser. My problem is it wouldn't get fucked up by the geyser. It would literally be standing right over it. Geyser would come up and it would just be like...
Yeah, because it almost wasn't the geyser just needed to hit it. It needed to be under a paw.
Yeah.
And then it would lift
or
up.
like under center of mass.
I guess tortoises don't have paws.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
A paw, whatever.
But, yeah.
But again, all of these so far have been completely different.
Mm-hmm.
Something new that you have to learn, which, again, I absolutely love all of these. Some of them are frustrating to defeat, but they were a different design and a different feature that you have to figure out how to exploit.
Which, now that we are at the 9th and 10th Colossus, we just discussed the 9th, I'm going to point out something that has probably been pointed out before because this is the internet, but if you game over on Colossus 9 and 10, which would be Basran and Dirge, I believe, their game over screens look so much like Majora's Mask. One looks like the Skull Kid mask, and the other looks like the fucking moon from Majora's Mask. It's not even funny. If you had told me different, I would have assumed it was some, black and grayscale screen from Majora's Mask instead of Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah, and the second version, the one that looks like the moon, I will admit I died a few times on this next boss we're going to talk about. Scared the living shit out of me. It's creepy.
Yeah.
Very, very, very creepy.
So, the next boss is Dirge, and this is basically Tremors in Shadow of the Colossus.
Yes.
This is a giant sandworm that, speeds through the sand at massive speed, ludicrous speed even, And this is the first fight where aggro is pretty much required. Mastermind, you kind of need aggro, because if you don't have him, it's really fucking hard to avoid the electric spam. But at any rate, this is the first fight where you literally cannot do it without aggro. So what you do is you get on aggro, you gain speed, and eventually Dirge will start chasing you. At which point you turn around in the saddle and start shooting arrows like there's no tomorrow, and hope one of them hits Dirge in the eye. At which point Dirge,
loses
control, hits a wall.
My favorite is when you're really far away from a wall, and
so
he
you just
does it forever.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Again, me and aggro
gives you time.
Me and aggro do not get along, so that part of the boss was annoying no joke, there was a point where I've got aggro going full speed, I have his attention, he's coming after me, I go to turn to shoot my bow and arrow, and aggro stopped. Mm-hmm. Stupid horse.
Again, I never had issues with him coming to a dead stop like that during Dirge, but again, I have no explanation. So, you defeat Dirge and move on, and now we have Celosia. And this one, oh boy.
He's not a Colossus. It's a baby.
Yeah.
It's a little dude.
Yeah. This is, basically it's a Minotaur, almost, like a bull. There we go. That's the term I was looking for. Minotaur would be standing up on its own 2 feet.
He's also the first one, and I know they want, because they're pretentious assholes, they want you to have feelings for all of these guys. Obviously, with the big eyes and stuff. Mm-hmm. This is the first one I actually had feelings for, because he actually reacts to things.
Yeah.
This one, he's afraid of fire, so you get him to run into this thing, and a stick falls out, and you grab the stick, and you light it on fire, and then you basically direct him to the edge of this platform, which makes him fall, which then
cracks his armor and exposes his...
And then when you jump down, you better make sure you land on him, because when your guy gets knocked down, he stays down for a minute or two. Yeah. Not a minute or two. It feels like an eternity when you are...
Especially when there's a bull charging at you. Yes.
He don't care if you're laying down or not. There were several times I got hit 3 times before I ever got control again. So, don't miss on your jump.
So, I missed the jump, and fortunately I was able to luck out of getting hit, but I clearly killed this guy in a way the developers did not intend, because if you miss that jump, you can go back around, and then there's a slight left you can take, and it's like a gap between where the actual fight is and where you enter into it. And then there is a raised platform there that allows you to get back up and, jump back up to the actual arena. Well, I just went, fuck it, jumped from that platform onto the Colossus and killed it there.
I might have done the same thing.
And what's funny about that is, it's the first time the death cutscene then warps you back onto the platform. So it's like, poof! Whoops! So, yeah. The next Colossus now is Pelagia, this is the one I was thinking of earlier with the tortoise.
Yes.
This one is you're in a giant pool of water, and yeah, Randy loves that. But then there's like 4 structures raised out of the water where you can climb up on, and there's this little stone outcropping you can hide behind, which you're going to need because this guy spams electric death, which kind of became a pattern with the last couple of Colossi. But you hide behind this rock and wait for him to come over to you, and then you can shoot the colored stones on his head, and that makes him duck his head down to allow you to jump over to his head. And then while you're on his head, you can hit the stones and direct him which way to go. And from that point, you direct him back to one of the stone circles, jump onto the top of it, which has another thing you can hide behind, and lure him back over again, at which point he will take his damn sweet time deciding that maybe I should be more direct, and raise up his arms onto the platform. At which point you can jump off the platform onto his stomach, which has the weak point, and stab it a few times.
Yeah, I knew I was doing this boss fight wrong.
I may have been doing it wrong, too.
No, that sounds way easier than what I did. I didn't realize when you're on the bottom part of the platform, you could bow and arrow those stones. The stones thing was cool, that you could direct him. It was like the Loch Ness Monster dude in Super Mario 64, but without stone. But so I didn't realize you could shoot the bow and arrow and make him turn around so you can get up onto the grassy part of his back, which again was a nice trolling moment. When you get up on his back and you're like, here we go. There's nothing here.
Yeah.
There's nothing for me to hit.
Yeah.
No, I literally each round swam around him while he continued to pivot, and swimming sucked, and his arm would get in the way. So I would spend a good 5 minutes slowly making progress around him. I knew I was doing that boss fight wrong.
Well then.
But I made it.
Yep.
I did it.
Moving on to Phalanx. Phalanx?
Something.
Yeah. Words. And this guy is a giant, like, hydra, almost a dragon-like creature. And this guy, you fight him in a wide-open desert, and he's got 3 sacks underneath his
If you've ever seen the movie It, the spider at the end, he has 3 of those.
Yeah. So you shoot all of those with your bow and arrow, and that causes him to dip down his wings while still flying around. You get on aggro, you line up, and you jump over.
And you miss.
Yes.
Over and over and over and over.
Yep. But yeah, then once you finally do get up onto the creature's wings and back, there are 3 siggles on this thing, and here's the kicker. You're on a timer as soon as you get onto the Colossus's back. Eventually, the signals are protected by like flaps of skin, and eventually what'll happen is the flaps of skin will close, and the Colossus will fucking dive, and you get to do it all over again, which is fun. And this is the first boss fight where I really had problems with Aggro's camera, and really the only one, honestly. But
all of them. Oh.
Yeah, Randy's not a fan. So
I hate Aggro.
Yeah,
we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's that was fun, and now we go to Cenobia, which is one of the only blatant copies, I think, Colossus in the game.
No, I think the next 2, this one and the next one, are copies of other Colossus, but in different areas that make you use the environment a lot more.
So Cenobia is basically the bowl again, except it knocks over pillars. So
yeah,
and I will say this: once or twice was fun, but it makes you knock over like 5 pillars before it gets to the fucking point.
Yeah, and there's one point where you like are jumping from pillar to pillar. I like that, but then it continued on from there, and it was It was an okay boss.
So that brings us to the penultimate Colossus, and that would be Argus, and he is
a copy of Valus, but that's okay.
Yeah, but what? And then the other thing I was gonna say is, when I first saw him, I was like, dude, Kamari from Final Fantasy X got fucking jacked.
And this one, instead of, he obviously has more armor, so you can't just climb on him. This makes the douchebag move of, you have to stand on the thing, and he stomps on it where it tilts up, and then you jump on it. No joke, first time I had to look it up, because it confused the hell out of me. Because then you go up there, and he swings his sword, and it knocks down platforms, which you then climb on. And you go up on the bridge, and then you jump on his head, and then
jump on his head, stab that sigil a few times, and then you go down to his right arm. There's a trigger sigil that makes him drop his weapon, and then his last sigil is on the palm of his hand. And Randy had problems getting onto the head and staying on there.
Well, I had no problem. Well, once I learned how about the stomping and that, getting on the head was no problem.
Mm-hmm.
Staying on the head was no problem. Getting him to do the stabbing motion, big fucking problem.
Yeah.
this is where I rage quit last night.
Yeah.
Because I tried multiple times of I'd get on there and he would get ready. The stupid Colossus wasn't even moving and he started acting like he was confused. I don't know if I was just couldn't find the sweet spot of it or whatever. It drove me absolutely nuts and whatever. I mean, just annoyances galore. But again, maybe I'm just an unlucky bastard and it was mean. But
yeah.
At this point, I also felt like there are too many Colossus at this point. Like, they wanted 16 for whatever reason. That was like a sweet number for them. But they had run out of ideas by the last two. Again, straight copies of Colossus, but more environment usage.
I'm interested to hear what Colossus you think Malice is a copy of. Malice
No, not Malice.
You mean the last two
14 and 15.
Okay.
Were straight up copies. Malice, obviously, final boss, totally different. But the two before.
Sorry, I misunderstood you there. My apologies. Anyway, so now that we've kind of talked about him a little bit, the last Colossus is Malice.
And before that, they got my hopes up. Let's just get the little story that we have out of the way because we've run really long on this game, which I knew we were going to.
Yeah.
But
well, that's okay because I don't think you're going to be talking long about your game.
No, but I mean it's in a good way. But anyway, so you go across this bridge that's falling while you're riding aggro, and you jump off aggro, and he slips and falls, and bye aggro. And I cheered, and I cheered, and I know it's supposed to be a sappy, sad thing, but I don't care about aggro. I don't. He caused me pain this entire game. He never listened. He never wanted to run. Again, there's a giant snake following us at one point, and he decided that was a good time to take a nap. Screw aggro. I was happy. Final boss time.
So, you get to this final boss, and it almost looks like a castle in the distance, and then the cutscene starts, and one of the castle's parapets starts fucking moving, and you realize it's a hand. And you see that it's this giant, Colossus. Duh. But, you think it's a castle just because of the sheer size of it, and it starts moving, and oh shit, that's a fucking Colossus.
And it's shooting shit at you.
Yes.
All the time. So you work your way through this stuff, which is difficult. Again, final boss is supposed to be.
Yeah.
And then you climb the sheer part of it and stab it in the back, which makes his left arm come back. So you jump on the left arm, if the camera's nice, and then it brings it up, and then you go up the left arm and stab it in the shoulder, which brings his other arm over. You jump on that hand, and so on until you get up to the head, stab it a bunch of times, as we've done 100 times. Again, the game decided it was going to play pranks on me and not allow me to stab it in the head for a while.
Yeah.
But
again,
what I don't want to hold that against it. Like, you were here watching me at that, and I was cussing up a storm.
Yeah.
I don't hold any of that against the game. Either I'm unlucky or my timing was just off. Whatever. Very great way to have a final boss where it's just a giant scale and just the moving parts of it I thought were great. So I give it full credit. I thought the final boss was really good. Minus my cursing rant that I had during it.
Yeah. So you beat Malice, and, the same thing happens that's always happened when you beat a Colossus. The tendrils of energy come out, they hit you in the chest, and you keel over. And
basically, you are being consumed by all of these Colossus.
Yeah. Well,
with evil energy or whatever.
Yeah, skipping ahead a little bit. But anyway, it cuts back to the temple, and the forces of good have come, because, as you find out in a second, you have not been on the right side this entire time. So the forces of good come, and they realize, oh shit, all 16 of the Colossi are dead. And they're panicking and freaking out, and then all of a sudden, your body just appears.
Well, that's what it does every time.
Every time,
you beat the Colossus, and then you wake up in the temple. So that's what has happened. You have woken up in the temple.
But to the group, they're like, what the fuck just happened? We've got a body all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Anyway, and they move to go towards you, and Wander wakes up, and he opens his eyes, and he's got Colossus eyes. He's being turned into a Colossus, basically. And there's a little bit of exposition about how Wander fucking screwed up because this is an evil spell. It's this is intended to be sealed, and Wander, the good guys kill Wander, and
poof, you're a Colossus ghost thing.
Yeah.
That can't do anything. That was disappointing.
Yeah.
I was excited to be able to control a Colossus, and it lasts 30 seconds, and all you do is chase him.
There we go. I was trying to think of the guy's name. Basically, Dorman possesses you, and you turn into a Colossus, and this is my main complaint with the ending of this game. I love the storyline, what you can infer.
Wes.
Infer. I like,
Wesley.
I liked Ico. I like Shadow of the Colossus. I liked the way the story was presented. I understand
by
you
not
don't.
presenting it all.
I understand that you didn't like it, but I liked being able to infer, read between the lines, and have my own interpretation. That's neither here nor there.
The lines were 2 different books, spread 3 miles apart. That was one line.
Anyway, so the one complaint I had is that the parts where you play as the Colossus is way too long because you cannot do anything meaningful. And plus the controls, for the first time, it felt like they just slapped the controls from the original game onto the Colossus model, and that just doesn't work because the Colossus is so huge that it just, it has no turning radius. Like, you had to struggle for how long just to get turned around?
I don't know.
But when you did it, because you were the only one that was able to do it. I couldn't do it when I played on the PS2.
And part of it was because I was trying to do other things while turning around, trying to do different things. I'm kind of disappointed. Like, you don't fully form into anything, but it would have been cool if the leader of the good guy group tried to climb you, and it was your job to try to swat him away or whatever.
Yeah.
And make it a reverse boss fight.
Yeah.
That would have been a cool thing, but it's just not there. They run off, he drops the sword in the water. It creates a light thing, you suck in as a little dude, back to your normal size. Of course, the girl wakes up, turns around, and to my displeasure, here comes Aggro limping in, and his hero's welcome, which was bullshit. And then they come down, and where the water was is a little baby. You say it's supposed to be Wander. I say it's supposed to be Ico. Who cares? It doesn't say shit. They don't tell you anything. Fuck the story of this game.
And on that note, I'm just going to go ahead and we're going to go to my game here in a minute. But I do want to just point out for the record that I really wish we had plugged in the recording equipment beforehand, just so you guys could have heard Randy's reaction when Aggro walked into frame during the ending.
It was so disappointing. What a sad ending. It's so sad.
And I had to bite my knuckles to prevent from laughing at Randy when he got to prevent from spoiling the surprise, quote unquote, for Randy, because he got so happy when the death cutscene played.
So excited.
Anyway.
Okay, so here's my mini rant towards Team Ico and why I have zero interest in playing whatever the fuck that next game is. The Last Guardian. It's been 20 years. Who cares? Listen. Stop making your story on the internet. Tell it in your game. I mean, listen, I'm not one of those, you don't have to handhold me and break down every little itty bitty piece of information for me to understand. But give me something. I don't know who I am. I don't know who the girl is. Obviously, I love the girl, and I'm trying to save her, and that's why I'm being a complete douchebag idiot and going around killing 16 Colossi just because some giant voice in the sky tells me to.
Colossi who do not take a hostile action until you do, I might add.
Which is great. I like that. I mean, the interactions, whatever. That kind of, you don't have to break down that I'm the bad guy in this. I figured it out pretty early that I'm going out and just destroying these giants because of my selfish acts. I got that part. But I don't know who she is. I didn't know who these guys that were showing up were. I still don't know. I still don't know who I am. Nothing made any sense, nor should it. Listen, if this game was just a boss rush game, I would have absolutely loved it. Mm-hmm. It didn't have to have any story at all. And I would have said it was a great game. But the fact that they kind of throw in little bits and pieces, and, like, there are names here of Colossi. The only way you knew about it is if you looked it up online, because they couldn't even put it underneath the Colossus when you first meet them, like normal game developers. Because my biggest issue with this is they wanted to make this giant movie, but didn't want to do any of the story part to it. They just went, you'll figure it out. We'll just wait a month after this game comes out and we'll see what the internet people come up with. That'll be our story. They will tell it for us. Because we don't know what the fuck we're doing about a story. And we don't know how to make a game either. And we can make bosses, but the camera continues to completely fight you because it wants that cinematic view. Which is another reason why I hated aggro, because every time you got on it, you ended up in the bottom right corner of the screen while it zoomed way the fuck out, while you're trying to get around this corner. And sometimes when you get into a boss, the camera would go, oh, look how beautiful this is, while you're going, I'm going to make a jump here. Can I please see where the hell I'm jumping to? So it wanted to be this giant, like, movie-like experience, but they couldn't at least give you any kind of story. I'm totally cool with not having any cutscenes. Have no story. Just start out with boy going, my girlfriend is dead, I want to revive her. And the dude go, okay. And then that's it. That's all you need. Stop trying to infer that there's bigger meanings to any of this bullshit because of the internet. Boss modes are awesome. The rest, I could do without.
So, one last question before we go to New Vegas.
Yeah.
I take it you're not pre-ordering The Last Guardian?
God, no. Listen, hold on. When did they announce The Last Guardian was going to come out? Like the original time they announced it? How many years ago now?
I'm pretty sure it was around the launch of the PS3.
Maybe so we're looking at like 7-8 years ago?
Maybe a couple years afterwards, but it was supposed to be a PS3 title, and I'm pretty sure it was around the middle of PS3's range was the announced date.
So in 7 or 8 years, I might think about trying it. Maybe.
Oh,
what a bunch of pricks. I hate Team Ico.
Alrighty then. Moving on. We're going to let Randy sit in the timeout corner for a second and calm down. And we're going to talk about my game, which was Fallout New Vegas. Developed by Obsidian Entertainment. Published by Bethesda. Released October 19th, 2010 for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, I almost said Xbox One, and PC. This game, of course, the last in the Fallout series until next month's Fallout 4. Wow, I just realized next month's Fallout 4. Anyway, this game places you into the Nevada in the Fallout universe, which is, of course, like everywhere, almost everywhere in the United States in the Fallout universe, is a nuclear wasteland. And the game starts you out with a view of the New Vegas Strip and everything, and then it cuts to a shallow grave site, a new grave being dug with a couple of people standing around, and you are tied up. And this guy in the gaudiest suit I think I've ever seen, it's like this black and white plaid checkerboard named Benny, is sitting there, and he's holding this package you had, which was this oversized platinum poker chip. And he gives this little speech about how your luck's run out, and then shoots you in the head.
Okay, now hold on. Do they explain what the poker chip is?
They tell you it's a chip at this point, but they don't explain it until a little bit later.
But I mean, in overall.
Yes, they do.
Do they explain who that guy is?
Yes.
You hear that, Team Ico? You can explain shit.
Oh, Jesus
Okay,
Christ.
I'm going back to my corner.
Anyway, so you just got shot in the head. Game over, right? Of course not. You wake up in the Dr. Mitchell's office in the town of Good Springs, And you go through your character generation while he asks you, questions about, what you look like, how strong you're feeling, and then he asks you a couple of psychological statements that are kind of like that are basically the questions from the GOAT in Fallout 3, except with a Western tone because we're in the West.
I will say I've played this game before. I've never finished it, but I have played it. I do like how it's, hey, we're going to customize your character, but we're going to do a little twist to it.
Yeah. So and then he kind of says, well, Victor, the robot dug you up, and maybe he knows a bit more, and sends you on your way. And from there, of course, things just kind of open up, and you go out into the world trying to find out find the guy who shot you, get your property back, and deliver it, because you work as a courier, basically, and your mission was to deliver this chip to the New Vegas Strip. And
was that told in game?
Yes. God damn it, Randy. Are you going to say this after every fucking story segment?
I might.
Jesus Christ. Anyway, so you travel through the wasteland, following a few leads and meeting some of the various people of the wasteland, and you meet the two warring factions that are kind of vying for control of New Vegas. From the west, you have the New California Republic, which is trying to restore order to the wasteland and get back to kind of like an old world democracy sort of thing. And then to the right, you have Caesar's Legion, who, true to their name, have basically gone back to ancient Roman times. They use swords. They have the Roman armor with the red, fabric beneath.
I like it a lot.
If you fail, you get if you fail a task, you get tarred and feathered and burned alive. Or if you're a criminal, you get crucified by Caesar's Legion, right? So you learn about these two factions, and then you finally make it to the Strip, and you find Benny and deal with him, and then you meet two other players kind of in the confrontation, because you're right next to Hoover Dam, which of course provides electricity for the area and is a major power stronghold, right? And Caesar's Legion is gearing up for an attack on Hoover's Dam, which is held by the NCR. And a large majority of the game is you setting up for this decisive battle that will decide the fate of the area for decades. And one thing I found interesting about this game is you have 3 distinct paths you can take at for the second half of the game. Because basically, you're told that the poker chip is actually a control unit for machinery. It has data stored on it. It's data storage, right?
Yep.
And it can overwrite stuff. So you have 3 options you can choose. You can side with the NCR, you can side with Caesar's Legion, or you can say fuck it to both of them and side with a AI known as Yes Man and get an independent.
Yes.
For you WWE fans, since he just did it, he is doing the Daniel Bryan motion.
Yeah,
because,
Yes Man.
Yeah. Anyway.
Or Jim Carrey.
So, Yes Man was actually slightly developed by Benny, believe it or not, because Benny was trying to work towards an independent New Vegas.
Always Benny.
Yeah. Anyway, so I must have missed something when I got to New Vegas, because I hadn't really interacted with the NCR or Caesar's Legion very much. So I just decided, I'll side with Yes Man. Why the hell not? Well, unbeknownst to me, that set me down the independent Vegas path, which is the hardest path in the fucking game. Because it's basically you going at it from both ends and trying to fuck up both the NCR and the Legion. So you go around, you plant seeds and whatnot, seeds of doubt and, ruin, sabotage plans. And then you finally get to Hoover Dam. And in the independent path, it's, you can use the chip again to install override software that allows Yes Man to take over the security robots in the area. and use them as your army to fuck up both the Legion and NCR. So you fight through the dam, do that, and then you go take care of the Legion and the NCR, and the game ends. And it's, I'm underselling it a little bit because I'll admit, I rushed through this game. I didn't do very many of the side quests, so there wasn't a lot of the building behind it. I understand what happened and why I did it, but there's nothing much going on in my version of the game because with Yes Man, you also go to some of the other minor factions in the area and try to get them on your side, or you can just choose to ignore them, which is what I did, because I was just like, I'll ignore them, get the game done, and I can come back and do the side quests later. That probably made things a little bit harder, too, because some of those guys can provide support during the final battle. But, story-wise, game's amazing. I love the presentation of it. You can tell right away that you're not in the Capital Wasteland anymore, which is amazing. Yeah, which is a sign of Obsidian being really damn good at their jobs. And, well, let's be honest, Obsidian is made up of some of the people who made the original Fallout 1 and 2. So, they know what they're doing. So, storyline-wise, I have no complaints. The battle system is pretty much Fallout 3's again, except they did add in a bunch more perks, and they also have what are called traits you can choose, and they're a bit more. They're a bit more. You have good, but here's bad. Like one of them is you do not get addicted to chems until you pass level 10. But once you do, every time you take a chem, you get addicted.
Oh, fun.
So sort of thing.
Yeah.
So they opened up a lot more builds in this version of the game. They streamlined things a little bit too, because in Fallout 3 you had small guns and big guns. Here it's just guns.
Yeah.
So, and I thought that was pretty nice of them, because it was kind of bullshit to not be able to, if you focused on small guns, you couldn't then upgrade to the big guns when you started needing big guns. So, yeah. There were a few more bullshit ambush battles than I remember there being in Fallout 3, where all of a sudden, you'd be surrounded by a whole bunch of pretty strong people. The last two fights in the game are that type of fight, and I was just like, it took me a good while to get past the last two fights in the game, where you take out the Legion's leader and then the NCR's leader. Because, I would get to them, and then all of a sudden they'd spawn in their cronies, and I'd be surrounded, and no amount of chems or whatnot, or luck, would help me. And what finally ended up happening was on time I finally beat the game, I got really lucky both times, and a plasma grenade crit and blew up both of the leaders turn one. Like, click, grenade, throw, boom. Okay, then. Nice. Moving on. So, it was a very positive experience all around for me. Definitely the best. I'm going to go out and say it. The best of the Fallout games I played.
That was exactly where my question was going to go. I was going to say, since you have now finished the Fallout series up until now, I was going to have you rank them.
Yeah.
So New Vegas is 1.
Yeah, I'd probably go reverse order. Vegas, 3, 2,
so
1.
You're saying that they've done exactly what they needed to and improved every single time. That's awesome that a company has been able to do that.
Well, 2 companies, technically, because Bethesda did 3.
You're right.
Whereas Obsidian...
But still, as far as a franchise goes, usually there's going to be dips and valleys and high points. Especially, there's only been 4. But still, for them to get better each time, in your opinion, that's awesome.
Yeah. And honestly, 2 and 1 are, I'd probably go an equal sign there instead of a less than sign. You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, slightly better. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And for the record, I do think Shadow Colossus is way better than Ico. And I didn't mind Shadow Colossus that much. I just hate Team Ico now. Now that I've played both games. I just hate them.
Okay.
Personally.
Alrighty then.
giant level and a Colossus level. Okay.
All right.
Let's get to my game. And it's not going to take very long because it's a pretty short game, but it's a very interesting game, especially compared to the other things that we've played. It's called Long Live the Queen. It's on Steam. And as I lost my stuff, it's made by Hanako Games and Spiky Caterpillar, which is an awesome business name.
Yes.
And published by Hanako Games. It was released June 2nd of 2012. And I want to thank the Rooster Teeth guys from the patch. They did this in one of the game clubs, and I got interested in it just because I haven't played a game like this in a while. Basically, to sum up this game very quickly, this is a choose-your-own-adventure game times a billion. It's, you play, I want to get her name right, it's Elodie, and you're 14, and your mom, the queen, had just passed. So you are 40 weeks away from your 15th birthday, and on your 15th birthday, that's when you become queen.
Yeah.
So you're getting ready for your coronation, and you're learning all of what you have to do to be queen. All these other groups of individuals are seeing the opportunity to overthrow your family and take over the whole area. And you have to decide all of this stuff and that. And the way you do that is every week you get to pick 2 classes. And those 2 classes will help you learn and advance. And there's different tests that happen in the game. So you have to go through all of that kind of stuff. There's like 14 different traits that you can learn in. Sounds like a lot, right? Well, each of those traits have 3 different sub-traits.
Jesus Christ.
And you have to learn each of these. And they go from everything from court manners to agility to learning about lore or horses or local government and all of this stuff. It's just ridiculous how many different ideas you can go through. So you pick your 2 classes you go through, and then you go through the event of the week, and then after that you get to do something in the castle, and that castle will help you change your mood, which is another key point in this game. You have a mood meter. There's 4 different scales of mood that have 8 different kinds of moods in it, and whichever one has the highest one, that's the mood you are for that week, and that mood then gives bonuses and penalties to different classes, so you want to be in the right mood to learn the same things. Listen, if you ever play this game, word of advice, you're going to fail a lot of the tests that happen. Don't freak out. There's only a few that super matter. Those are just, a lot of those abilities then give you extra information, whether it's about a person or something coming up, or if that's a good or bad person that you're talking to. Or a lot of times, like, Wes, I had you try it once just to kind of see what you thought. There's, like, you go to a ball once, and maybe you will look more elegant if you get all these tests right. And a lot of that is actually to make yourself look good in front of the public. Because one of the final runs that I had done before I finally got it complete was, I had learned through many times of dying that you want to build up your physical traits so you can dodge things that get shot at you, or there's a sea battle, and if you lose in the sea battle, then you have to swim ashore, so you want to make sure that was up. So I was like protecting myself from all of the fails that were about to happen. So I got all the way to week 39, and then the public decided I suck at Queen, and they rebelled against me, and then I had no kingdom to run anyway, so I didn't die, but I ended up losing on week 39. So it's an interesting balance. I love that there are tons of different paths you can go on. Yeah. There's, like, Wes, you died going to a birthday party. So if I had you play it again, you would probably be trying to protect yourself from the attackers that hit you in the birthday party, and then that won't even happen. Just the way things change in it. So it's an interesting type of game. Not a lot to talk about it. The cool thing is you can play a run through in like an hour and a half. Yeah. So,
like, I played my run through watching Randy try to beat Malice.
Yeah, basically. I mean, so it's not one of those where you feel terrible about losing because it doesn't take long. Plus, they give you a ton of different save states. So if you want to save each week and then go back to that week and try something different, you can. So I give it a thumbs up.
Yeah.
For sure. Again, it's a little different type of game that I'm used to playing, but I enjoyed it, and finally succeeding in getting to the ceremony was a good feeling. I love the fact if you go on there is a checklist of all the different ways you can die.
Yep. That was pretty funny to me too. So, you basically covered everything I had to say about the game. It's a lot of numbers going up, and it's a little daunting at first, but if you're into that kind of game, that kind of aesthetic, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's 100% reading too, so I mean, get prepared for that. It's very nerdy.
Yeah.
Just say that. It's a nerdy game.
Very nerdy and very anime.
Yes.
So if those two things are off-putting to you, maybe not your type of game.
I just want a funny story that I'd meant to bring up to you while
beforehand.
You were playing it.
Yeah.
So you had joked around about you get an offer to marry this old dude, and you don't want to, so you refuse, and you're like, well, I should let him down easily, and if you fail in the public manners part of it, she tells him, no, I don't want to marry you, you're stupid, or whatever. It's just really ridiculous.
Yeah.
The fails in this game are hilarious. You didn't get to it, I don't think, but your dad, you come down the stairs, and your dad is talking to this gorgeous girl.
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay. So, you can insult her, or just stare at her, or whatever. Well, if you go to say something to her, and you're public speaking or whatever, or your manners are not high enough, you basically insult her for her boobs coming out. Yeah. Like nice boobs or something, which is hilarious. Yep. So there's a lot of those. It's even more like, even though you know it's wrong, you just want to see what happens. Yep. So there you go. That's Long Live the Queen. Yep.
All right. So real quick, there are two things I want to get to on this the next episode kind of thing. First, we'll talk about the games we are playing for episode 20.
Oh my god, it's 20.
Yep. We will both be playing Back to the Future, the game, the series games by Telltale.
Not the ones that are coming out soon.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know there was another Back to the Future game until I was looking at Metacritic the other day.
Well, are we sure that's not just them? It's not Telltale? Because I saw that too. I thought it was just Telltale releasing them for the new generation.
I mean, look.
Anyway, while he looks up at that real quick, we're talking about the Telltale games that released for PS3, Xbox 360, and PC. Those are the ones we're talking about. And we're doing that because obviously this episode is going to end up being really close to the day where Marty McFly comes to when he goes to the future in Back to the Future Part 3, I think it is.
And it is. It is the Telltale games that are coming out new gen.
Okay.
I apologize.
Yep. Nope, that's fine. At least we got that cleared up. And, we just figured it would be kind of funny to play Back to the Future when all the hype is about back to the day he comes to the future in Part 3. And then, since it's going to be around Halloween, we're each playing a different horror game. Randy will be playing Alien Isolation.
Finally, I've wanted to play this game for so long. I bought this game 4 months ago and have put it on the shelf because I figured we'd do a Halloween special and I wanted to play it. I'm excited.
And then, I will be playing the Resident Evil HD remaster.
Which, when you told me you had never played it, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah. Well, I watched it played with my cousins in Kamiai, but the thing is, we all turned it into basically a riff track session.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to play it, maybe with the lights off and in HD instead of PS1 graphics. But,
well, no, that's the difference. Is the HD thing it's a whole different game.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's not just an HD remake. It's the one that you're playing is the GameCube one, which was a complete reimagining of the first Resident Evil. So it's totally different. If you've never seen the GameCube version,
I played a little bit of it.
Of that Resident Evil, it's awesome. It's one of the best remake kind of games that you'll play.
Okay. So the other thing I want to get to real quick is in a month's time or so, I can't remember the exact date of the episode, but the first episode in November, which I believe will be like the 13th air date, we since it'll be around Friday the 13th, we decided we'd switch things up a little bit.
So it'll be actually episode 21. So the episode after...
Okay. So, and that will be airing on the 10th of November.
Yes.
And then the 13th is on a Friday, so Friday the 13th. So we figured we'd do like a little Freaky Friday sort of thing.
Yes.
Instead of us choosing the game, me choosing the game I'm playing, and Randy choosing the game he's playing, and then we both discuss our co-play. What we're going to do is I'm picking Randy's game, Randy's picking my game,
but we can't, since we can't do that for each other, we are letting
you guys decide. And by you guys, we mean Sean Garber at this point.
Yeah, probably.
We're going to look back on this when we get famous and laugh. But, anyway, so when this episode goes up, I'll also be putting a poll up with 5 options for our co-play game. The game that has the most options when we go to record... most votes when we go to record episode 20 will be our co-play game for episode 21.
Yeah, basically we picked 5 games that we were kind of interested in on top of that we both had.
Yeah.
Or at least had access to.
Yep.
And it makes it easier. So even if it gives less options for Sean to pick from.
Yeah.
Basically. But it kind of narrows it down, and we sat down and we kind of made sure we kind of hit each genre a little bit, and it wasn't like the same game over and over, so we spread it out a little bit for you guys to decide. And
the 5 games are going to be Battle Block Theater, River City Ransom, Cameo Elements of Power, which was an interesting little find, the original Donkey Kong Country, and then Comics Zone. So, it's a nice little step back into gaming's past for most of those. So, make your choice, and we'll see it on episode 21.
And I know it's 2 weeks away till it becomes official, but I have already picked your game. Have you picked my game?
I'm still kind of throwing a few options around.
Are you going to be nice to me or evil to me? Because if you're going to be evil to me, I'm changing my game.
I'm still weighing my options. I don't know which one to consider.
I have a few options as well. I am going the easy route right now, the nice route, because I want you to experience a wonderful game that you haven't played. I would like you to do the same. If you go the evil route, Hotline Miami 2 is in your future. Or Super Meat Boy. One of those two. I'm letting you know. So, be nice.
Alrighty then. So, with that warning in mind, we are actually going to wrap up this episode because I did have one news roundup story selected, but it's basically Ubisoft being Ubisoft and being terrible. Apparently, they pulled a bait and switch. They originally listed their collector's edition for Might and Magic 7 as having a physical copy, and then a whole bunch of people pre-ordered because hey, cool collector's edition, physical stuff.
Stop pre-ordering.
Yeah. That's another issue entirely.
Says the guy that pre-ordered Fallout 4 so we can get it. Good boy.
Yep. I wasn't going to go there, but
hey,
anyway.
I'll call myself out when I do something stupid.
Anyway, so apparently Ubisoft at some point switched the wording on it to say that the copy of the game would be digital, and then did not inform anybody of this change. So when people started getting their collector's edition with no physical copy of the game, you could imagine about how well that went. So, yes. I know we said we weren't going to do it, but I just kind of did it anyway. So any thoughts on that? Because I think I think Ubisoft's clearly in the wrong here.
Yeah. I mean, I had no inkling of this going on until you had brought it up, because what the fuck is Might and Magic?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not into that series. I'm not saying it's good or bad.
Yeah.
So I just had no clue. But yes, if at any point you said you were offering a physical copy, if you then down the line take that off, the people that order it from then on shouldn't get one. But if they ordered it while it was on there, you have to live up to what you posted on there. That is any business model ever.
And
listen, I work in the casino industry. If we post something and it's incorrect, but somebody has seen it before we are able to fix it, we honor what they saw.
Yeah.
That's just how it works.
Yeah.
So, Ubisoft, you fixed it now, but all those people that pre-ordered before that, you better come up with a physical copy.
Apparently what they're doing is they're basically going 1984 and refusing to admit that they ever said anything about a physical copy. And then
this is the internet, so I'm sure somebody took a screenshot of it at some point.
Yeah. And they're going, well, we'll give you a free or discounted game at some point in the future is basically their response. And it's just like,
We'll see how that goes.
Yeah. So, at any rate, this has been one of the longer episodes to date of the Backlog Busting Project, and that's simply because we both decided to talk about Shadow of the Colossus for so damn long. We hope you enjoyed it. Keep checking back to the blog for whatever top 10s or posts we decide to do, as well as Mario Maker Mondays. And until next time, play more games.
Unless they're made by Team Ico.
Insert Castle in the Mist here.
Okay, you want an outro? Here's your fucking outro. If you find some fan fiction fucking game of Shadow of the Colossus 2 thing on like Newgrounds or some shit and you make me play that, Kaizo Mario is in your fucking future. Now I'm gonna get a message from you tomorrow saying you found a fucking fan fiction game of Shadow of the Colossus. You're a prick.